Hi everyone, Bianca here from the VitalityGuideForWomen.com, and today I want to talk about something that's not so pleasant, but it's coming, and that is winter. Now, it hailed where I lived last week, which really brought home that winter is on its way, and it comes a little sooner for some places, like where I live, and a little later in some other places, but regardless, we should all be ready with a stocked freezer of summer produce. Now, right now, the markets are full of peaches, berries, kale, everything you can imagine. This is the time for growing. So I like to take some of the stuff right now, freeze it, and then use it in the winter because I long for summer flavors in wintertime. And although I love beets and apples and pears and things that are quintessentially winter, I do miss summer produce. So what I'm going to show you today is how to individually quick freeze summer produce for use in the winter. Now, the market term, I guess you could call it, is IQF. So that just stands for individually quick frozen. And that is what you get when you freeze things like this. So this is berries. I've already sort of gotten to work on my freezing. So this is what your final product looks like. And before I learned how to IQF, I would just lump everything into a bag fresh, throw it in the freezer, and then it would freeze into this like big block that I would have to chip away at, and eventually I would just throw it out. So it was a complete waste. And since I've learned how to IQF, my life has been so much easier. So what you need for this is a baking tray. Any baking tray will do, and then parchment paper. So I've just lined my baking tray with parchment paper. So then you take whatever that you're going to freeze and then you just cut it up. Now, you want to make sure that you cut it into a shape that you're going to be using it. So if you're making pie and you want really nice half moons, cut them into nice half moons now because when it's frozen, you're not going to be able to cut it. And generally, when you're going to be making pies or things that you want to look pretty, you're going to be taking it from frozen and putting it right into your pie mold or your marmalade or whatever the case may be, and not having that opportunity to cut it into the shapes that you want. So do yourself a favor and do it now. I'm going to be using these for juice, so I don't really care how they look. And these are white peaches, and I'm completely obsessed with white peaches currently, so I'm doing my best to kind of freeze as much as possible. I only have 3 here right now because I'm not doing so well at preserving some of them for this freezing process. I'm just eating them like crazy. So just because I'm using them for juices or smoothies, it doesn't really matter. And then you want to layer it out on your tray in one even layer. Not an even layer, just a layer. But you don't want anything stacked on top of each other because then they'll freeze together and then be a difficult thing to manage when you go to use them in the winter months. And the beauty of this is that you can do as many as you'd like. If you have a deep freeze, you can literally go wild. So you can buy bushels and bushels of whatever you want, pints and pints and pints of berries, and then just freeze them, and then you'll have fresh summer local berries for the winter time. So then I'm just going to continue to do that. It's my last one. Throw it on there. And this is kind of just one of the best things that I think to do right now to make your wintertime a little bit easier, so then you're still getting all the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants that berries and peaches and all those things boast without having to go to the grocery store and potentially getting a really crappily flavored winter version of a summer fruit. So it's all layered on there just like so, and then you're just going to pop it into the freezer and let it freeze for about 2-3 hours, however long it takes to be completely solid. You don't want any of the liquid to still be sort of tacky because, again, if you put it in the freezer before it's completely frozen, it'll just freeze into one solid mass, and then you're going to have to chip away at it like it's an ice block. No fun, and will just frustrate you. So that's it. That's IQF. So just a rundown of what we did. All you'll need is parchment paper, a baking sheet, and whatever fruit or vegetable you're going to be using. You want to cut it into the shapes that you're going to be using it in eventually down the line. So if you're making something that wants pretty cuts, you're going to want to cut it pretty right now and then freeze it. But for me, I just using these for juices or smoothies, so it doesn't really matter. And then you want to layer it on your baking sheet in one layer, nothing stacked on top of each other, and you don't really want anything touching. Then you're just going to freeze it and then put it into lovely bags, and then you'll have delicious summer produce in the wintertime. Hooray! So I'm Bianca from the vitalityguideforwomen.com, and this has been my individually quick frozen, freezing your summer produce for the wintertime tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.